Today I'm bringing you this cool toned smoky look that's all about sultry sophistication. I'm using one palette for this and I'm going to show you how to blend the perfect mix of greys, taupes and deep charcoals for a seamless smoky effect. So whether you want a soft diffuse haze or a bold dramatic vibe, this tutorial has everything you need, so let's dive in. I'm going to do my base first, but you are welcome to do your eyes first, whatever works for you. I'm starting with the Charlotte Tilbury Unreal Skin Sheer Glow Tint. And this is going underneath my makeup for that glow from within. I'm using my Sigma F03 highlighter brush to blend this in. I've popped a little bit across my cheeks, a small amount down the centre of my nose, a little bit on my chin, my cupid's bow, and then I will use what's left in the bristles just to run that over my eyebrow bone. You may feel like this is going under your foundation, therefore it's never going to be seen again, but I promise you it really has this beautiful subtle effect that is like a candlelit glow. I was dubious about trying this product as somebody who's oily combination, but I really love it. For my base today, I'm using the Haus Triclone Skin Tech Foundation. The shade I have pulls a little bit too yellow as we are still in the winter. So I'm adding a mix of pigments by Temptu. I'm adding some white, a drop of blue and some violet, and this is going to neutralise it without dropping that foundation shade too deep. You'll see my face and neck doesn't really match my chest, so I'm actually matching the colour to my chest, and this one works pretty well now I've mixed in these pigments. I actually featured the Haus foundation in my top 3 foundation picks for combination skin in this week's newsletter. I've been running a poll at the bottom of my newsletter asking you what you guys want to see in the next one, and you guys voted for the best foundations for each skin type. If you're interested in signing up to that, it is in the description bar of this video. I love this foundation because it's medium to buildable coverage. It's a natural skin-like finish, but you can build it up without looking cakey. The formula itself feels very weightless. It has a serum-like feel, so it blends beautifully. It's hydrating, but it doesn't make the skin look greasy. So if you are a combination skin type, you'll most likely like this, and you have over 50 shades to choose from. So that's the base makeup done. I'm going to do my eyebrows off camera and then I'm going to move on to the eyes. So as I mentioned, we are only using one palette. I'm going to use the Colourpop Stone Cold Fox, which is a cool toned eyeshadow palette that contains 30 different shades, all on the cooler spectrum. I'm taking the shade Fascinated, which is a matte shade, and it's very buttery in its texture. You can see it blends beautifully. All very cool toned, which I really like. Works as a shadow in the socket line, but we are working it on the outer third of the eye predominantly, and then using a circular motion to buff that through the socket and onto the outer third of the mobile lid. The next shade we're taking is Bold Type, which is a similar shade to Fascinated but slightly deeper, and we're going to trace over where we've applied that first shade, but we're not going to take it quite as high. That first shade we use works as a nice transitional shade, so that's going to go the highest. This is going onto that colour, which means we do less blending because we've already got a shade blended in that area. So we're using the belly of the brush to press this onto the outer third of the mobile lid, and then the tip of the bristles to softly blend that up into Fascinated that we've already applied. That brush was the BK Beauty 202 brush, and now I'm going in with a clean blending brush by MAC just to make sure that it's completely seamless. If you want to try the BK Beauty brushes, you can use my discount code Shonagh10 at the checkout. That will get you 10% off. I'm now mixing the shades Trip and Luxe together, which are also 2 buttery matte shades, and I'm popping this on a flat brush by Rephr, and this is going on the inner half of that mobile lid, and we're going to softly tap between the shades to create a beautiful gradient. Turning the brush over, I'm using what's left on the bristles through the brow bone. This part wants to be really subtle, but I love that it does add a subtle highlight. I'm now going in with this kind of slate shade called Rumour Mill, which is another matte shade, and I'm taking this Rephr number 13 brush, which is a small blending brush. It's slightly more dense in its bristles, so you can be a bit more precise with it, and I'm buffing this along the lash line on the outer half of the eye. It's thicker on the outer edge and then gets thinner as we get towards the centre of the eyelid. Then we want to go back in with our Rephr flat brush that has a little bit of the lighter shades and use that to soften the very front of this line that we've created. This is an old pencil by ZOEVA. I think it was in the shade Mute. I don't think that they make it anymore, but use any eyeliner that's a charcoal grey shade. I will try and source one and I will link it in the description for you. I'm taking that all the way along the waterline, and I'm also blinking onto the tip to coat the top waterline. I'm also going to take that on the very outer third of the top lash line. This part is completely optional. I'm going to use my Sigma E21 brush to smudge that out, I'm also going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills number 3 brush to create a very soft wing. I know that isn't for everybody, but I like the lifted look that it gives. And this is very subtle because it's eyeliner rather than liquid eyeliner. And because it's grey and not black, it's definitely more subtle. If you don't own one of these brushes, definitely get one. I always link them in the description, but I use them I think in every single tutorial. I'm using a BK Beauty smudger brush to take rumour mill underneath my lower eyelash line so it mimics the top lash line, and I'm being very subtle in the approach before going in with my Rephr lash curler. This is another product I use week after week because it's fantastic. I'm swapping it up this week with mascara. I'm going to keep you on your toes. This week I'm using the number 7 Pro Artist That's a Wrap tubing mascara, and I was pleasantly surprised. I really liked it. It is a tubing mascara, which means you can remove it just with water. I did find this one a little bit more difficult to remove, so I took it off in the shower. I allowed it to steam in the heat. Here you can also see that if you get that mascara on your skin, allow it to dry and you can just knock it off. And you can see the before and after here. It does give a beautiful result. As I said, I just felt like it needed some time to steam off, unlike some of my other tubing mascaras, which I can just take off by leaning over the sink with a little bit of water in my hands and softening it. However, if you want a mascara that's going to last all day, that doesn't flake and doesn't migrate, then this is a really great option because it really didn't move. So here you can see like one eye with the mascara, one eye without. It was a bit of a quick clip, so you might need to go back to see it. But overall, I really like it. I think it is absolutely lovely. It is quite a wet mascara, but it works really nice. So that's how the mascara looks on its own. I'm going to go in with some Pro Effects Full Glam Lashes by Lash Base. As you may or may not already know, these go underneath your eyelashes. I do have a discount code which I linked on screen. I'll also link it in the description bar. It gets you 10% off. But what I love about Lash Base eyelashes is that they're already very affordable and they are the most incredible on the market. Lash Base are a pro lash company. They actually supply lashes for eyelash technicians that do individual eyelashes. So the material is made to mimic real hair. So these ones are much higher quality than any of those that you will find from regular eyelash brands. I am not paid to talk about them. I just think they are absolutely fantastic, and the only reason I found the company was because my sister is an eyelash technician and she uses them for her pro lashes, and then I discovered that they did strip eyelashes for those of us that don't wear individual lashes on a semi-permanent basis. Okay, so moving back onto the complexion, I'm going to take the Charlotte Tilbury Beautiful Skin Sun-Kissed Glow Bronzer, which is like a cream bronzer. It's available in 4 shades, and I'm taking the shade medium, and I'm going to show you just how pigmented it is. I've used one swipe on the brush, and I'm going to dispense that on the areas that I want to apply the bronzer first. Then I like to wipe off the excess from my bristles, and then start buffing this into the skin. It can look scary to begin with, but I promise you, if you use a stipple motion, you really can bounce it away. But I also want you to realise that it doesn't matter if you apply too much. If you really went heavy-handed, you can always apply a very light layer of your foundation over the top to minimise this. I don't have to do that today, but I just wanted to show you how pigmented it is and that you really only need a very small amount for your entire face. The brush I'm using to stipple this in is the BK Beauty 106 foundation brush. It's very soft. The bristles work beautifully with powder and cream based products as well as liquid. So if you want to try this for yourself, you can use my discount code on the BK Beauty site and that will get you 10% off site-wide. So here you can see with some perseverance of just stippling this in, it really does blend away, probably more than you would have anticipated. We have blended this onto foundation that hasn't been set with any powder, and that's really important because it really will help with your blending. Now I want to add a little bit of brightness to the face. I'm going to take my By Terry Hyaluronic Serum Concealer. I really like this because it's very hydrating, it's not heavy. This blends in and looks like second skin and does not look cakey. So this is just going on the centre of the face here, and you'll see that it isn't anything too stark. It's bringing some subtle brightness to the centre, and I'm also using the brush to work that backwards over the bronzer that we've applied so we have a nice gradient. So this is also a nice trick to tone down your bronzer by using the excess product that's in the bristles to buff over your bronzer afterwards, often using a slightly cleaner brush that just has a little bit of either excess concealer in the bristles or foundation, buffing over the entire face with just the residual amount of makeup in those bristles will help make the face look more seamless. So you're not necessarily erasing the makeup, you're softening it. Now it's time to take down some shine. As you know, my favourite go-to is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Powder. It's finely milled, it creates a blurring effect to the skin, it doesn't look cakey, and for me, having tried so many different powders on the market, it is a firm favourite. For blush, I'm going to use the Nude Stick Stacks in the shade Love and Roses. I really like the formula of these Nude Stick Stacks. I don't know if you've tried them for yourself, they've been out a little while now, and I really love the convenience of stacking these, so they're great if you're going on a night out or you're travelling. They're small enough and compact enough to pop into your handbag. I'm using the same brush that I used for my bronzer, and I'm popping this on the back half of the cheek. To line my lips, I'm going to use this Makeup Forever Artist Colour Pencil in the shade 506 Endless Cacao. This particular shade is slightly cooler toned, it's like a neutral cool tone. It's very 90s, I think it's the perfect lip liner. I like to go around the entire circumference of my lip and then blend that with my finger. I don't want a smudgy look, but I don't want a harsh line because it is a lot darker than my natural skin tone. So I have to be very light-handed with it and then soften the line with my finger. When I rub my finger over the line, think of pulling the colour in towards your lip rather than just smudging along it, because otherwise it will migrate past your lip line, which we don't want. I'm going to use a lipstick I received this week from Laura Mercier. This is their Caviar Smoothing Lipstick. The shade I'm using is 610 Blush Chenille. It's a very comfortable matte and it's a lovely colour, but I want to add a little bit of the concealer to the centre. I feel like I just need to take it to a very slightly different shade. Once it was on, I was like, okay, I need it to be slightly lighter to go with the eyes and the cheeks. But I love the matte finish because it goes with the eyes. And that is today's cool toned makeup tutorial. I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you are after a sultry, sophisticated look, hopefully this is the one for you. I think a cool tone is a nice change from the abundance of warm toned eyeshadow looks that we are so accustomed to seeing. As always, I will list and link all the products I've used in the description bar so you guys can shop directly from the video. Please give the tutorial a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. My name is Shonagh Scott, I'm a professional makeup artist, and hopefully you will consider subscribing for free if you'd like to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!